Yeah, so today we are going to get data from the internet and also from SQL Server. So you open your Power BI desktop, and like we mentioned last week, the section on top here is our ribbon. To the left here, we have the report view. Below, we have the table view, and we have the model view. So here in the middle is our canvas. And on the right here, we have the data pane, the visualization pane, and the filters pane. So we can hide them when we are not using them. So typically, to start using Power BI, you need to get data into Power BI. So there are several data sources. So to get data, you come over here and click on Get Data. So from here, you can see common data sources. Last week, we worked on Excel. We imported an Excel file into Power BI and we did some visualization. So going down this list, you can see different data sources. You have data flows, data vars, SQL Server, analysis services, text and CSVs, web, blank query, that's inside Power BI here. Then you can click on more to see the other data sources that are available. So can we all see it's a very long list. So almost every application, every system has a connector that Power BI can use to get data into it. Can we see that the list is very long? It's a very long list. So almost every type of application has a link into Power BI. That's one of the reasons why Power BI is very versatile. Okay, so today I'll close this, then we'll go back and start all over again. Today we want to get data from our SQL Server. So we go down here and we click SQL Server. So it's going to process and it's going to bring us to this page. So now it's asking us for the details of our SQL Server. So to get that, you now go back to your SSMS. Remember, when you are logging into your SSMS, it gives you a prompt and it shows your server name and your database name and some other information, authentication. So if you are already inside SSMS, to get that detail, you come here to connect. Click on connect and click on the database engine. So if you click on this, it's going to show you your server name and your authentication method. So now we'll copy this server name. Control C to copy. You go back to your SSMS and you put the details here. You paste it here. So now we have some other options we need to consider. So when we are importing data into Power BI, we have two main options. Either we import the whole file or we import it as direct query. So importing the whole file means the whole complete data set is going to be stored in Power BI under your data tab, under your data pane. But if you do direct query, then it means it will be going back to where your data is stored to retrieve the data as at when you need it. So for this exercise, we are going to use import. So now we also have two options if we are getting the data from our database. We can either go directly to the SQL server, or we can also click these advanced options and write our select statements inside this place. So we are going to try both options just to have a better understanding. So let us use the importing of the file directly from the database. So here we've already set our server name. We can click on OK. Then Power BI will try and establish a connection with our server. So is anybody doing this along with me as I'm speaking now? Is anybody trying it right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just doing slowly.
All right. So have you been able to get your server name?
Hey. Sorry, I'll just have to wait.
Have you been able to get your server name? All right, let me continue. So now, can you see that we have my SQL server here? And these are the databases that I have inside my SSMS, my SQL server. So we can confirm this by coming here. I can cancel this now. Then I'll expand my databases in SSMS. Then it will show me, can you see that we have the same databases here now? So these are the 4 databases that I have in my SSMS, which is also what we have here. So now the table I want us to load is inside this February class. So you click on the drop-down arrow here and it will show you. So I have 2 tables inside this database. So the table I want to load is this particular one. So I'll just click on it. Then it will give me a preview. Can you see the preview now? Fortunately, it has set my table properly by putting the header names. So these are the header names. If I scroll to the side, I can see all the details, all the different columns. Can we all see it? So now the next thing is for me to load this data into Power BI. So this is one way of getting data into Power BI. So at the bottom here, you can see your options: load, transform data, or you cancel. So what I'll do now is I'll load this table into Power BI. So I'll click on load. So it takes a while to process. Can you see it's still processing? It says there are pending changes, but it's still loading it. So we give it time. On the data pane, you can see some activity. So it's trying to load the data set into the data pane, into Power BI. So it might take a while. So you just allow it to run. One of the major tasks we'll be doing is to ensure that we load data correctly into the Power BI system so that we can always, do our analysis. So it's starting to load now. And as you can see, it has completed the load. So our table is going to pop up here. Can you see that our table is loaded into Power BI now? So if you click on this drop-down arrow, you can see the tables, the columns that we have. So we have buyer date of birth. It has put the calendar sign telling us that this is date. It has put city, full name, item ID, quantity, sales date, stock date. As you can see, anything that is date will be annotated with a calendar symbol. Then anything that is numerical will be given a summation. But item ID is not something that we will sum. So eventually, when we are doing our analysis, we will remove summation from this column. So to see our data, our table now, you come here to the table view, you click on this, then it will show you our table. Can we all see? So now we've gotten our data into Power BI. So if we wish, we can go and start, building visualizations straight away. We can start with clustered column chart. Clustered column chart. We may want to see the sales by city. So put city on the x-axis, then the quantity sold on the y-axis. So we can see this now. So this is an example. So now we are going to remove this table and we'll try another method. So the method we use now is just linking the table directly. So we'll try and get the data into Power BI by writing a SQL script, a SQL query. So I'm going to delete this. I'm going to delete this table also, delete from model. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Then you remove that. So once that, so we now have a fresh report again. You know, we have a fresh canvas, no data, nothing. So let's go back to our SSMS. So what we want to do is from this February class database and this customer sales table, we want to extract everything from this table and take it to Power BI. So to do that, we start by writing our script, our query, select star from dbo.customer sales. Looks like I picked it twice. So you run this to be sure your query is correct. All right. Who has an idea why we have an error? Does anyone know why we have an error? Well, we are in the wrong database. So we need to change our database here. So we are supposed to be inside February class because that's where our table is. So execute the table, the query again. Now you can see that we have our results. So this is the table we want to get into Power BI. So there are instances where you want to do some, manipulation and some joining and filtering and sorting and grouping before you get your data into Power BI. So you can do it here. You run your script in SSMS, make sure it runs. Then that same script can now be used to bring in the data into Power BI. So we go back to Power BI. So basically what we want to do now is get data from that SQL server. So you click on get data, you scroll down to SQL server, you click it, allow it to run. It will try to connect to the server. So it's going to ask us again, what's the server name? So if you come back to SSMS, click on connect, database engine, click on database engine. Then you can see your server name here. Control copy. You put it here. Then we can now start writing the query. So if you are going to write your query here, look at what it says here. SQL statements, optional, requires database. So it's either you make reference to your database in the query or you fill this option. So it's easier for us to just fill this option. So let's put our database name here and then we'll write our SQL query there. So you close this. This is the name of our database. So if you just click on it like this, you can copy it, copy the name of your database. Mine is February class. So whatever the name of your database is, just copy it and paste it here. Then you now go back to SSMS again, and you now copy your query that you are sure runs and gives you the result that you want. You would have tried it here before you now put it into Power BI. So if you come here now, you can now paste your query here. Sorry, I didn't copy it properly. So you select it, Control C, come back to Power BI and paste it. So now you have your query here. Remember, you need to put your server name, put your database name, then you now put your query, your SQL query. You click on OK. So Power BI will run, it will run it. Wow, that was fast. Can you see it has brought in the data? So this is a sample of the data. Can you see? This is your laptop, I mean, your database name, and this is your server name. The first part is your server name, then the second part is your database name. And this is the table. This is the query you ran. This is the query we put into it. So this is our table. So to proceed, you just click on load. So usually, depending on how dirty or how messy your table is, you can either start transforming it immediately, or you can load it directly into your Power BI report. So we'll click on load now. So Power BI will run the query. Can you see it has run the query now? And you have your table here. So to view what's inside your table, you go to the table view here. You click this pane, this view, this button here in the views pane, and it will show you your table. Can we all see the table? So it looks like what I'm teaching is boring, but it's not. Because when you want to bring in data from a direct source in your database, this is how you do it. Because usually in organizations, the database is usually the central point of storage for data. So Excel is an ad hoc way of doing it. Eventually, when your systems get big, you can't continue to use Excel. And for safekeeping of your data, it is better they are in a SQL Server than just mere Excel sheets. So this is our table now. You can see everything we have here. So to just do, to test it, you can just do your visualization. We try the custom column chart. Open your table. I think the other time we did city on the x-axis and quantity on the y-axis. So this is our table. Can we see? So now we've learned how to bring in data from a SQL server, and we've done this in two different ways using two different methods. So we're going to try, okay, now you can rename this. It is called query one, but our table, if we remember from the SSMS server, is customer sales. So if you click on this three ellipses here, you have the option of, you have some options which you can, go through. So what we want to do now is to rename. So you can click on rename, and it gives you the option. So our table is customer sales. So that's the name of our table. So our table is customer sales. So there you go. So that means we've done two methods of bringing in data from SSMS. Okay, so you can go back to your home tab. Yeah, so there we are. So now let us try bringing in data from the website. This is a little bit, this is interesting because it helps you to bring in data in a very clean way. So I have this this table, we first of all have a look at it on the website, on the internet. Then we'll now try and bring in the table. So as you can see, this web page is a list of research universities in the United States. So what I was interested in is finding out the R1 doctoral universities. This is the main thing I want to find out. Which universities are in this R1 doctoral universities? And on looking at the table, this is the table. If you look at it, you have the institution, you have the control, that's the ownership of the university, you have the city, and you have the state. So let's say I want to look at all the universities in Texas, for example. Based on this table, I cannot do that because the table is not sorted by state. So as you can see, this is Arizona, this is Alabama, this is Texas, this is New York, this is Massachusetts. Let's look for the next Texas and see. See the next Texas here, Rice University in Houston. So I cannot do the sorting on the website. So I thought, why not bring this data into Power BI and I can manipulate my data and sort it the way I want. So this web page now, we are going to try and get this data into Power BI. So we go back to Power BI and we click on Get
Sorry, Michael,
Data.
what's the title? Sorry, what's the title of what was your search title
Okay,
again?
let me put it, I'll put it in the chat. So if you want to have a look at it. So this is the web page. I'm putting it in the search, in the chat.
Okay.
So you can click on it.
Thank you.
Yeah. So you can have any research you are working on or any data you want to get from the internet and you want to build a visualization. So this is a way you can do it. So now we go back to Power BI. We've copied the web page that we want to get the table from. Even from the website, you can see that this information here is in a tabular format. And this is not the only table we have on this page. If you scroll down, this is another table. So this table is doctoral universities high research activity. Let's look at the other one, because you need to be able to identify your table. This one is very high. The other one is high. This is very high. So there are two different tables already. Then after this second table, let's see if there's any other data table. So this is another table. So this is the third table. Can we see, at least we have three tables on this page. So let's go to Power BI and see what Power BI can get for us. So click on Get Data. And we are going to get data from the web. So you look for this option and you click on it. So now we're expected to put in our web page here. So Control V to paste it. Then you click on OK. So Power BI will try to link up with that page. Sometimes it will ask you for authentication, but because Wikipedia is an open source website, you can always bypass the authentication. So on your left here now, we can see some tables that Power BI has been able to identify. So these first three are the ones we saw by ourselves, that we were sure that, okay, these are three tables. Just out of curiosity, let us look at what is inside this table one. So can you see? This is a very small table. I'm not sure where this is on the website. So deselect it, select the second one. So looks like it's similar information. So anyways, let us get the table that we want. So what we want is this table. So once we click on it, we will see the preview here on the right. So you can look at your preview. Look at it. Can anybody spot what's wrong with this preview? There's a transformation we need to make on this table. Can anybody spot it? Let me deselect this. Can anybody spot what's wrong with this table?
The header.
So it's using the headings as part of
Yes.
the.
I think Tito said that first, so I owe you one chocolate. Yeah. So can you see that it is not picking automatically? It's not picking the header column. I mean the header row. So it's now giving it column 1, column 2. So if we import it this way, that is what is going to have to show on our table. So this is a scenario where it is better for us to do the transformation immediately, since we've spotted something that we need to work on. So what we'll do is, instead of clicking load now, the way we did for the other table, what we do now is to click on transform data. So once we click on transform data, it will now go into the data transformation page, which is our Power Query. So it's still loading. And one very important thing to note about Power BI is when you bring your data into Power BI has an engine that can compress data. So if, for example, your data was maybe 500 MB before you bring it in, it might compress it up to like half and make it smaller. Yes.
Sorry, this is an aside. I know
Sorry?
this is just by the way. I just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
We're bringing in data into Power BI. Can you take data out of Power BI to anywhere else?
Yes.
Okay.
You can export data out of Power BI.
Okay.
Yes. So now we've brought it in, but can anybody notice if we still have that error? Do we still have that error? Initially the header was different.
Mine still has the error.
Have you brought it into Power BI?
I brought it into Power Query Editor, yes.
Did you click on transform data?
Yes.
Okay, and it still has that error.
Yes. In fact, I'll send you a screenshot of what is on my screen. What is on my screen is not what
Okay. Anyway, we would investigate. So if you look to the right here, look at the right where where my mouse is, my cursor is. Can you see applied steps? So
yes.
the more you work on Power BI, the more you need to work on this section. So now every line is a step, and every step can be removed by clicking this arrow, this cross. So if you click on source, this is, can you see on top here? This is our web page. And these are all the transformation that Power BI did. So now the second stage is extracting the table from HTML. Can you see here in the second step, the column headers are still wrong. But Power BI is also very intuitive. So it detected that column 1, column 2 technically should not be the header. So it promoted this row 1 to become the header. And it also did another one by changing the type. So if you click on the third one, yeah, so well, it has demoted our header again. Can we see that it has demoted it again? Alero,
Yes.
did you send me your screenshot?
Yes. It's on
Okay.
WhatsApp.
All right, I'll have a look at it. I'm not sure why it demoted it again after it has promoted it before. But going further, yeah, Alero, you've clicked something. That's why it's showing all this, your profile and stuff. Okay, so now what I want to do is to at least get this header, get this row 1 to become our header. So it's very simple. From this home tab, if you look towards the right here, can you see this use first row as headers? Can you see this? So all we have to do is just click on this button. So because this is a very common problem in Power BI, there's a button set aside for it. So once you click on this use first rows as headers, it's going to promote row 1 to become the header. Can you see? So we now have the headers. So the next thing now is there's really no other transformation we want to do now. So you can now close and apply. So it will take a while. Yes, so can we see our table here? So this is our table now. So this is our table. And depending on what we want to do, Okay, let's just do a simple visualization. So let's check which institutions are more, the private or the public. So you put this on the x-axis, then the institution on the y-axis. Yeah. So can you see this now? So just in case we need to check, okay, which of the institutions have a higher occurrence. So in the US, we have the research universities, the doctoral research universities are majorly public. Then we have, a lesser number that are private. So do you understand how we're able to get this data into Power BI now using the get data method?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we must select the kind of visualization that we want, right? Like
yes.
if we want to transform the data, so we'll select if we want it to be scatter plot, if we want it to be pie chart. So we select the visualization, then it now transpose it on their screen, right? Is that what it means?
Yes. So
Okay.
this area where you have your column chart now is called the canvas.
Okay, the canvas. Okay.
It's called the canvas, yes. So if you want to visualize your data and you have your data on the right-hand side here. So what you do is, depending on what you want to visualize. So I'm going to give an assignment after today's class, and it's a very simple assignment. It's just for us to read up on the visualizations. So here are our visualizations. We have our visualizations here. So we need to know what each of these symbol represents, what they do, what kind of reporting are they good for. For example, if you have a pie chart and you want to list institutions, for example, now you want to list the number of institutions on the pie chart. If the institutions are many, then you probably will not be able to visualize it properly. So you need to make sure you have the right system is slowing down. You need to pick the right visualization. Let me see if I can do it. Okay. Can you see what I'm talking about now? Look at this visualization now. Can you get any information from this graph, from this pie chart?
No, it looks so cumbersome.
Yeah, it's so clumsy. You cannot even picture. So how will you know if this purple is the smallest or the largest? So for you to visualize something, the aim of visualization is for your audience, your stakeholders, to be able to understand what you are saying without you saying anything. So if you look at this chart now, by the time we put label on this, oh, my system is dragging. By the time you put label on this, you don't need to explain anything to anybody. Sorry, my system is dragging. Anyway, I wanted to put label here, so it will show the number of public universities and the number of private universities. So if you show these charts to anyone, that these are public, this is a chart of universities, doctoral universities in America. You don't need to explain anything again. The person knows that, oh, public universities have this quantity number of institutions, and private nonprofit has this number. So you can easily send a message or tell a story with this one. But with this one now, you cannot tell any story because it's too clumsy. You can't understand it. So the essence of the assignment I'm going to give is for you to try and have a better understanding of each of the visualization, to know which one works best for each kind of scenario. So from last class, I think we mentioned line charts. So when you are using line charts, sorry, my system is still hanging. It hasn't come back. So when you are using line charts, a line chart is best for visualization that has time elements to it. Time in terms of time, it could be date, it could just be time, but passage of time. Today is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So it's easier to show trends with a line chart. So if, for example, you want to show that, oh, something is changing over time, it's changing over the days, over the weeks, over the months, over the years, line chart is more ideal for that. Then when you want to compare, categories, this column bar chart is very good. Then you can also use another one. This is my Power BI. Why is it doing this? Let me try and close this one. Maybe it will release some bandwidth. Right?
Back.
Sorry, guys. I don't understand what's happening to my laptop. Anyway, so I have a link to serve as a guide to read up on the various chart types that we have in Power BI. I'll send 2 links. Let me copy this. I'll put this in the chat. So I want us to open it now. Don't report anything, just close. I need to upgrade my system. So I've sent a link for the Zoom, for the Power BI charts. So click on it, just try and read. I think it should be less than 10 minutes reading. Then I'll also send let me see if I can send the image here.
Okay.
This image. Yeah, so I've sent an image and a link. So from this image now, can we see? So what this image is trying to tell us is, if you want to do comparison, let's say across two columns or two variables in your data set, these are the kind of visualization that you can use. You have bar charts, grouped bar charts, line charts, bubble charts, area charts, stacked bar charts, ribbon charts, shape map, donut, tree map. Then if you want data over time, this is what I mean by like trend. So these are the chart options that are, preferable. But with time, YouTube would also start knowing that, oh, this one is better for this one is better for that one. If you want to derive correlation, you can use bubble charts, column line, and scatter plots. Then if you want to do distribution, grouped bar charts, bubble charts, then parts to whole, ranking. So by the time you read the first link I sent to you, and you now look at this summarization, you would have a better understanding of the visuals. So let's try this tree map. If my Power BI is responding now. Oh, this thing wants us to close on time today. The way my system is, even the noise is making now. Anyway, I would have wanted to just change this visualization to a tree map. So that's one thing you can always do while you are doing your designs and you are building up your report, is you can always toggle between different visualization just to test the impact and to see how logical or how useful the reports will be. So I think if my Power BI is not going to respond, we would have to finish early today. Does anyone have any questions so far? Any questions so far?
So I was able to download the Power BI onto, so I have Power BI and then MSQL on one laptop now.
Okay.
But I wasn't able to do the second part. So I did the first part of the to import the whole database from SQL, but I couldn't do the second part where you had to import just a specific what do you call it?
Is it the one you couldn't use the query to get your data?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want us to try it? Where did you get stuck?
After
Okay. Have you put in your database, your server name, SQL server name?
Yeah, so I have the database here already. It's just because I was doing two things at a time, I didn't get to where I didn't see you. So I don't know the process.
Okay, so there are like three fields you need to fill. If you click on Get Data from SQL Server,
Yeah.
You need to put in the server name. That's the one that has your laptop name and something. Then go back to SSMS where you have the table that you want to copy from. Click on the database name, double click on it. It will just highlight it in blue. Then you copy that. Is it working?
My laptop and yours have the same problem today. So
Is it hanging too?
it's hanging. You have infected my laptop.
I don't know why it's hanging. Oh. Well, I think I've been loading my laptop too much these days with different new applications. Anyway, I'll do a short video and I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So at least today it would be nice if we understand how to get data from Excel and from SQL. Those are the two major sources of data. And we've even gone a step further by bringing in data from the internet. So once we are able to get in data into Power BI successfully, then the next things we'll be looking at are how we will now be working on those data inside Power BI. So let us call it a day. Let's try and look at the. So we have two assignments now: the the Excel project, and review of visualization of charts, Power BI charts. So let's try and work on that tomorrow. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you on Wednesday.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you for your time. Good night. Good night.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.